This can be the stream that takes needy streamer overload out of the #1 parking spot for streams. What is up, everybody? This is Jay, aka MultimediaJay, coming on here for a chat stream, which will also double as an acid test for the audience when it comes to the tech videos, because we're going to be talking about some stuff on here that I am not going to be mentioning in the tech videos. So anybody who doesn't watch my streams or hates the fact that I stream or whatever is just going to be in the dark until what happens. But it's just, we're not even going to get into that first thing. First of all, we're just going to talk about a few other things and see if anybody shows up. If nobody does, then heck with it. So main theme for tonight is respect blue collar content creators, because we got to take a very serious look at some of the stuff that's going on. There's this idea out there that anybody who monetizes in content creation is automatically rich, and they're greedy for trying to make some money off of the stuff that, you know, they're doing, either current, as in the case of a streamer, or after the fact in the case of some YouTubers like myself who barrel along and stuff like that. Got the taxes done and everything, and this was another year when the YouTube channel wasn't big enough to have to do anything with when filing taxes. So I can tell you, though, that when it comes to content creation and its prospects in terms of people wanting to be full-time content creators, you need to realize the historical context of why people think they can be full-time YouTubers in the first place. Because we are far enough removed from the 2008 financial crisis that there are Zoomers out there, you know, that generation that says, I want to be a YouTuber for a living, and it's very, very popular, apparently, for whatever reason, despite all the problems at YouTube over pretty much their entire lives that content creators have been very, very vocal about. So literally there's an entire generation out there that is just too young to understand the historical context of where their life aspirations came from if they want to be a professional YouTuber. So why don't we just blow the lid on that right away before we get into the bad news from today. Let me just say this. Let's see. Monetizing on YouTube began with the partner program, which began in the late 2000s. But it was a very limited thing to be partnered on YouTube and have any kind of monetization going on. YouTube actually held off on making this widespread in terms of its availability so long that competitors like Rever were able to create rival services to YouTube off of the whole selling point of you get to make money off of making videos. So the ad revenue that YouTube takes for themselves, we actually let you have a share of. And that was part of Rever's business model until, of course, they found out the hard way what happens when an upstart business tries to be the tail that wagged the dog. Once YouTube made monetization a bit more actually reachable by its content creators, there wasn't much of a reason to stay on Rever, and Rever's now in the history books. So there's some other things too, like livevideo.com. Of course, they had Google problems with the way that they ran as well. But there was a livevideo.com, which was a rival to YouTube, that basically, and let's make sure the sound isn't getting fuzzy again with the way that they ran as well. Good. Nothing like what happened last time. LiveVideo.com had some features before YouTube did, but YouTube caught up and eventually defeated the purpose of being on live video. So here's the history for those of you who are wondering about all of this. Here is the history of monetization and why it's stupid to want to be a full-time content creator. Only the biggest of the biggest of the biggest actually make it. And you know what? This is nothing new. Look at sports. For every person in like Major League Baseball, for example, there are countless people that never make it past the minors. And if you know about the difference between Major League and minor league in baseball, then you'll know that's like the difference between flying to your games and big, long, boring bus rides and stuff like that. And at the AA level, which was AA and AAA, no, not AAA. There was AA teams in Connecticut when I was growing up. 3 of them, actually. Norwich, New Britain, New Haven. Some of those AA players only make like $100 a game or something. It was just literally because they hadn't made it in pro sports and they were still in the minors. The money they made from being professional baseball players was actually about as bad as it would be if they worked in a supermarket or something. It's just really, really just awful if you don't make it. So that's one of the reasons why certain people retire if they don't think they're going to, at like 27 from pro sports, if they don't think they're going to make it out of the minor leagues, because the minor leagues is just not a good use of their time as people that can work literally anywhere else and probably make more money. But anyways, getting back to the whole discussion about being a full-time YouTuber and where that came from, the context of it is YouTube rolled out its monetization program in the late 2000s wasn't widely available until much later. But some of these early success stories with monetizing on YouTube, they had their success during the Great Recession, a time when companies arguably, and I agree with this, by the way, companies laid people off on purpose and exploited the crisis to make people work more for less and get rid of people. So you're a fresh college graduate or a college graduate with a couple of years experience, the Great Recession pretty much destroys everything for you. When you go from something maybe related to what you went to school for to like stocking shelves at Target for $8 an hour. Oh, and by the way, there would be a huge bureaucratic process because of all the applicants. So you would have to jump through tons of flaming hoops to get what would otherwise be referred to as an entry-level job at retail or in a restaurant back in those days. So the concept of becoming a full-time YouTuber, even running off of donations, was very, very interesting to people because of the historical context of the Great Recession and just what kind of environment that was. You fast forward to today, it's a very different world. It's very easy to probably make more money than some of the blue-collar content creators you may watch and enjoy who stubbornly want to stay full-time, even though they'd probably be better off financially if they became part-time in some way, shape, or form. I really think, though, the more we have like boom times, like, you know, what's been going on as we've recovered from the Great Recession, as well as the self-induced recession of the pandemic, the more boom times we have, the less interesting these jobs will appear. At some point, there's got to be some kind of people smartening up and realizing that going for jobs that are in demand is a better option than trying to be selfish and expect the world to kiss your ass because you're somehow special by your own self-defined means and things like that. So a lot of the things that drives people to become full-time content creators is because of a twisted, warped time when that was actually more attractive than it otherwise would be today. Of course, yeah, I mean, you know, the idea of freedom and doing your own thing is cool as far as content creation goes until you catch up on how exactly these platforms have been treating people, even some of their bigger content creators, and just how easy it is for everything to fall apart, and you basically end up not only in the position you would have been in otherwise, but also you don't have the experience of some of your competition going for these dumb jobs now because you've been spending a couple of years of your life streaming or whatever. So very, very important to keep in mind, especially as we go into our discussion on blue-collar content creators, that it ain't all roses and it ain't all wine and roses when it comes to this stuff. Only the biggest of the big are really able to comfortably be full-time content creators. For everybody else, you want to respect them. And that's why the theme for tonight is respect blue-collar content creators, because they don't have to do what they're doing. And in many cases, something else would probably be better. So their interest in continuing to make videos for you to watch or streams for you to turn into or Instagram pictures or whatever, or TikToks, is something they're doing because they want to, but they don't really need to. It's like that. No, they probably be more than capable enough to get a decent job somewhere else and probably make more money. So these people that are making stuff that you enjoy are probably sacrificing something in order to do so. And you need to respect that. We're going to dig into some numbers later on when we get to the main discussion to talk about all of this. Now, how about we begin with some bad news? Let me see what the phone says here. And the reason I'm sandwiching this in the middle of the discussion, so that way, you know, see if the people that hate the fact that I stream will miss this. So the true fans of this channel that will actually watch these things will actually know what's going on. So here's the situation. The others will find out later or something, or if someone blabbers about it or something like that. I have half a mind to, limit to turn off comments or something on this. So people can't spill the beans. Nope, no updates. This might take a while. So there's a little something in fulfillment centers on the warehouse side of things called missing and wrong. When you receive the wrong item or the wrong quantity or something like that, it's not what you ordered. Here's the RAM for the e-machine. Here's what I received anyways, and it is not what I ordered. I ordered a 4 gig kit that consists of 2 sticks of 2 gig DDR2 667. This kit only contains a single stick. I've already opened a service ticket with Amazon, because this is the first This missing and wrong is from Amazon. So I've opened a service ticket. They're going to contact the seller. I've already put in there. If they just, they may have mispicked this, but if they just send me one more of these, that gets me to the 4 gigs I ordered and we can call it a day. It could get interesting though. I could end up with 6 gigs of RAM because according to FTC, Federal Trade Commission regulations, if you send me something I didn't order and I didn't order this, it's a gift and I get to keep it. So theoretically, I could hear back from the seller that they're actually sending me a 4 gig kit, so I end up with 6 gigs of DDR2 as a result of this. Because, I mean, but I gave them the opportunity. If they just want to mispick it again and send me another one of these, then we'll call it a day. So we'll see what they do. But the seller has until the 8th to respond to me and is now the 6th. So Thursday, Friday, they have until that time to respond to me, at which point then I contact Amazon again and start escalating things. And will I escalate over a $15 RAM kit that was mispicked? Yes, I will. So this is all stuff, it may seem insignificant to the consumer, but when your inventory gets screwed up because people aren't picking stuff right, that slowly adds up into some bigger problems if the inventory team doesn't fix this. So I'm actually doing them a favor by bringing this up, instead of by bringing this up and stuff like that, because it also sounds the alarms to them to cycle count and see what happened or whatever and actually fix this sort of thing. But let's see. Let's take a look at the section on here. Let's take a look at this in this. Let me just see what's going on. No comments. Okay, good. Hope it stays that way. Already been demonetized though, which is YouTube's robots as usual. So it's just let's see here. I don't know. I'm tempted to, you know what? Let's be a smartass about all of this. Show more. So nobody spills the beans on all of this. I'm going to have all comments held for review. No spoilers for the people that don't care about the streams. Bam. Comments, and now all comments are subject to review after the fact. People think I'm stupid. They think that I don't notice what's going on. Since I started making computer videos again, people have been unsubbing. Explain that. And Windows 10 versus the E-machine Part 2 isn't just about that E-machine. It's also about some other computers as well that people have been telling me to make videos about. And yet, it can't compete with its predecessor in the first 20 hours. It's 2 of 10. So people say what they say, but actions speak louder than words here. People are unsubbing, and already the tech videos are already losing steam after just making one big computer video and stuff like that. So I got to ask, have we really gotten to the point where tech videos are good for just a little boost in watch hours, which is temporary and goes away? Have we really gotten to that point that it got this bad? What happened to YouTube actually working for creators to introduce their content to new audiences? Why does it have to be this way? Why do we have to have a setup where YouTube, stream-wise, is basically a place where maybe if you're lucky and the systems are actually working that night, you'll get an audience of people who already follow your videos? So all these people that are like, oh, stream. Well, there's a reason why I say stream on YouTube, and it's for beginners. It's because while you're getting used to streaming in the first place, you can work on your showmanship, and there's no emphasis on concurrence. Your streams on YouTube are better for you as a budding YouTuber than they are on Twitch. With Twitch, your streams are bad if they're not 3 concurrents when you're first starting out, because, Twitch affiliate requires 3 concurrents. On YouTube, all of what you do as a streamer gives you watch time, both live and after the fact. Play your cards right, get your style down, and it's going to start contributing to the 4,000 hour, which I think is too high, by the way, threshold to get partnered. So even your crappy streams are a form of progress on YouTube, whereas on Twitch, all that matters is whether they have 3 concurrents or not. If it's not 3 concurrents, every second you spend live is soft banning you from getting monetized. So it's just one of those silly things. That's the 2-viewer Andy problem. Now I remember that discussion I did on it. I have a lot of good discussions that I had on Twitch back in the day that I never made it over to YouTube because I completely cleaned out my Twitch channel a while back. and only kept a few things here and there when I decided that Twitch was only good for a secondary channel and stuff. But I'm actually thinking of just doing generic game streams there, going through the backlog on stuff, because Twitch isn't good for much else. They're stricter than YouTube in a lot of ways and worse than YouTube in still other ways. So overall, it's worth it. No, if you're established on YouTube, Twitch can be a side channel, but it's not anything interesting enough, especially with Twitch stuffiness, the exclusivity, the affiliate program, etc. It's just not interesting enough to trump YouTube if you're already established on YouTube. And for the people that aren't established on YouTube, getting established on YouTube does more for you than getting established on Twitch, as we're going to find out in the coming days and months, or years even at this point, as this streaming bubble continues to burst. So let's see. Let's take this and let's put it down here. And yeah, it's pretty sad. I mean, people have been unsubbing since I started making tech videos again. What a pity. Or maybe it's YouTube doing its usual thing. Oh, today you have subscribers. Oh, no, you don't have subscribers. Oh, yeah, you do have subscribers. Oh, no, you don't. Just like no sense of feeling of any kind of progression because, oh, the systems have to vet to make sure that you don't have inactive subscribers or spam accounts subscribing. You're like, well, why don't you just do your job? Why don't you just do your job with this search technology that is so amazing that you routinely over-rely on it for your own gain, but not to help not to actually help your creators out? No, heaven forbid that someone just starting out on YouTube amount to anything without a $700 DSLR and a boost from somewhere, or maybe pull a Ludwig and trick Mizkif or somebody into watching your YouTube video to get your first chunk of views and subscribers from essentially a publicity stunt. But who's counting there? Let's get some jazz music going here, and let's talk about blue-collar content creators. So as a result, actually, let's not and say we did. To finish up this whole middle discussion that we're having, that's going to be rather unfriendly to the people who hate my streams that want to know what's going on. So here's what we're going to do in light of this little missing and wrong right here. It's a couple of days. The Duo Meki or whoever, the seller of this, has a couple of days to respond to my report that they sent the wrong item and remedy the situation. If they remedy the situation, that's a couple more days, because this wasn't the fastest Amazon Prime item out there. It's just there was a compatibility thing or something like that. There was some sort of something or another. What was it? Nah, actually, I just wanted 4 gigs. The 8 gig, I can either buy 2 gigs or 8 gigs. I probably should have just bought 2 gig kits then, since we got this kind of crap going on here. But it looked handy, but they just sent the wrong one. So we could be talking about several days turnaround to get another stick of RAM over here. So what we're going to do is, previously, I was going to basically do a little bit of mid-naughts to 8 gigs and then work on the E-machine. We're going to reverse that. We're going to look at, say, upgrading the BIOS and the E-machine for as a little tiny thing. We don't have the RAM for it yet. We'll test this 2 gig stick by making it a 2 gig system again, and then we'll just take the 8 gigs of RAM, put it in mid-naughts, and see what Core 2 Quad can still do, which the answer, of course, is going to be not very much. But it'll be interesting to use that thing with 8 gigs because Tuxedo started off with 8 gigs of RAM. So an 8 gig system from the late 2000s, what does that look like, feel like, and with games, play like? And then, of course, we'll put this in, just enough RAM to turn the thing on. If the stick works, maybe I got a defective stick for all I know. If the stick works, then we'll just put that in. And then we will work on waiting for that other stick to come in. We'll check out the BIOS updates, see if we can max the BIOS to see if we can improve the processor support on that motherboard, see what the BIOS date is, and then see if we can just get another BIOS, BIOS update, hook that up so that we can see what kind of processors can go in. That's a Socket 775 motherboard. I'm curious if we can go from Celeron to Core 2 Duo, because I still have the Core 2 Duo sitting around from when I used to use that. We'll see if the stock cooler will support it too. All right, so we're going to flip things the other way. We're going to do mid-naughts with 8 gigs of RAM first as a result of this little oopsie. And probably the dumbest reason why this is such a problem is this is now guaranteed that I will not finish the E-machine project before the end of the furlough. Sadly, now we're going to be talking about going to part 3 when I'm trying to get back to work, might be tired out, things like that. Who knows? So one little mispick has really had a lot of consequences. So if you ever get a job in a warehouse, pay attention to what you're doing, because what you think is a little mispick, in this case, and a selection error valued at about $7.50 has really screwed up a lot of stuff that I was planning on doing over the next couple of days. So anyways, let's see. Is anybody even still here? That's what I thought. That's what I'm talking about here. I mean, take a look at, let me just take a look at some of these. Let me get my dashboard up here. Give me my channel dashboard, and we'll just close it later, and we'll do some other stuff. We got live control room actually closed here. But let me just go to the dashboard here. Yeah, it's pretty sad. People have been unsubbing. People have been unsubbing since I've been making tech videos again. And is someone view botting me or something? What even are all these views if people are just this stone cold about all of this? I mean, it is having a splash effect in the algorithm, but folks, we talk about knowing how you come across to others and the way you treat people and stuff like that. Hey, it's Logan. I talk about this stuff because underneath all of this pomp and whatever you want to call it, all the glitziness is still a form of social media. And if somebody, look, you know how many times I see people talk about big YouTubers and big streamers who've lost touch with the real world? They're basically an internet version of Hollywood celebrities, completely out of touch. They don't even seem like real people anymore, even if they're playing fictional characters. They're just not believable. Well, if you don't want people passing that point of no return, have respect for the people that are actually keeping their head down to earth. And it's not just streamers either. It's not just snotty streamers who can't handle, someone having a negative opinion of them, so they start hiding replies on Twitter, even though it's one person out of an audience of 4,000 concurrents, representing an audience that is far bigger than 4,000 people. So turn off DVR mode on the stream, by the way. No spoiling. No spoiling whatsoever. That's in the edit menu. Turn off DVR mode. See, where is that? Details. Turn that off. Hey, how come I can't access that on here? Stream settings. Ah, there it is. Looking in the wrong spot. Turn off DVR mode. Nope. No jinxing it. People can wait for the replay or whatever. Yeah, we are going to bury, we are absolutely going to bury this discussion in the middle here. But it's not just big streamers that are completely out of touch. Mr. Beast, kind of like more like Mr. YouTube these days. Guy has name recognition all around YouTube. Silent on the Artesian builds fiasco. I went and checked his Twitter again just to make sure. I've got him blocked anyways because of this, but one of the fun things about blocking people on Twitter is you can read their tweets, voluntarily if you click the little disclaimer. So he is still silent on the whole Artesian build thing. Like, how tone deaf does he want to look? He had like a buddy deal with them at one point. Nothing. Absolutely nothing. And there are folks who had buddy deals with Artesian builds that issued statements on the matter. Nothing. It's nuts. If you're out of touch with reality, then I don't need to be watching any of your videos. If you're not believable as a human being, if you're a disgusting human being, I don't need to be watching any of your stuff. But the thing is, though, anybody who hasn't passed that point of no return, where they start acting like they're larger than life, that means that social skills are still in play with this stuff. So the way you treat people, even if you're just a viewer, matters. That's what I do on Twitch, by the way. I'm not there to insult people's mother or flip out about, oh, they played Fortnite wrong or something like that. I'll be in the chat having fun, cracking terrible dad jokes, and maybe using party-type emotes or whatever fits the mood and stuff like that. Because fundamentally, you got to practice what you preach. I believe in content creators being respectful towards each other and towards viewers and vice versa. Because YouTube, keep the drinks cold and ready. Because YouTube started out essentially as video social media, and there's still an element of that left there these days. If you're not a full-time content creator, or you're one of those blue-collar content creators, keep in mind that if you want people to support you, you don't want to be a jackass about things. It's a hard lesson for people to learn. But that's the thing. Even if you're just a viewer, you're part of the reason why people haven't quit making stuff yet. You can say, I've said this a lot of times, and I think it bears repeating as many times as necessary. There really is no passive role in this ecosystem. you as somebody who just watches are already doing something for the content creator by giving them watch time and popping up the numbers that they have, which tells them, hey, you know, you're not totally wasting your time doing this, especially when, and we're going to talk about this, if you look at some of the hard numbers involved with content creators, blue collar content creators, not the pseudo celebrities like what we saw at that awards show earlier, there, if you dig around and you know where you live, you know what the numbers are like, you can actually see that they're actually worse off because they're making content. I'm one of them, by the way. The time that I've spent making YouTube videos all these years and now streaming would be more profitable if I worked, even if I worked a minimum wage job making sandwiches at Subway or stocking shelves at Walmart. One of the things you learn as you get older is just how important the value of your time really is. Because the older you get, the more you realize you didn't have as much of it as you thought you did. When it's like the blink of an eye, because you went from, when you go from 20 to 40 and you're like, what the heck? Wasn't I just 20 yesterday? That starts to really sink home, especially if you've kept yourself busy doing the thing. Oh yeah, make something yourself, work hard, try and be successful. So you hit the grind and you grind things away to the point you grind away your life to the point where the days start blending together. You don't really think you're doing anything special anymore except working to pay bills. And next thing you know, you're hitting middle age. You're like, wait, already? Because you've kept yourself busy, that time just flew by. And I mean, you see a small version of this with like vacations and family get-togethers and stuff, where even if it seems big going into it, you're more like, wow, it's over that quickly? Or how about, for example, if you have a good time in college? You know, 4 years seems like a lot, and then you're like, wait, where'd it go? Same thing with high school. Oh yeah, well, once I get out of these, like once I start getting treated like an adult when I hit, 15 or whatever, then you're wondering, like, oh, wait, I'm a sophomore. Oh wait, I'm a junior. Oh wait, I'm a senior. Wait, I'm graduating. What? Oh, that's kind of your warm up for other stuff that's going on. But that's really it. And you may go in as like a 22-year-old recent college grad from a business school like me at one point, and you may see corporate going crazy about how people use their time, document how people use their time, make the best use of your time. But outside of corporate crap, it's actually incredibly good to be cognizant, or aware, I should say, of how valuable your time is and decide what you want to use it on. It's almost like buying stuff with money to an extent. And if you go around saying time is money, then you literally would believe this stuff. So you think about, oh, if I spend 5 years doing this, is it really worth it? This is part of the stream life crisis stuff that I talk about, that these streamers are going to start heading into. And we're seeing the warning signs of it with these streamers gradually becoming less of streamers. You have Jay Streezy going on Cooksucks' stream on Twitch the other night and saying, yeah, well, I'm only streaming once a week now because I'm over here in Southeast Asia and I'm pursuing TikTok. And first of all, TikTok doesn't have very good monetization. It's a publicity tool more than anything else. That they're dumb enough to not have a scaling form of whatever. They just take a bunch of money and divide it amongst all the monetizing creators like the YouTube Shorts Fund. It sucks. It's a publicity tool more than anything else. YouTube should be what he's working on if you wants that kind of stuff, assuming he doesn't just pick up some hard skills and do flex work in between YouTube videos and stuff. Because when you're not when you're not walking around pointing a phone at you, no, it's more like this because it's on a selfie stick. If you're not walking around pointing a phone at you everywhere you go, and you actually regain your free time, that really opens up a lot of different things. Think about it for a second. There are people in chat that'll go nuts if a streamer's late. Could be that their alarm didn't go off, or their Uber didn't get there in time, or whatever. They go nuts that a streamer is late, and life happens, But I mean, if you are a little slow making a YouTube video, it could be the opposite. People get mad at you if you're late to a stream. Oh, you said you would go live at 9. You went live at 9:15. What's your problem? Don't you care about your audience? Why are you late? But if you're a little slow on making YouTube videos because stuff's happening and crap's going on, you might see people in the comments like, oh, shoot, I hope he's still alive. Is he okay? He's not in the hospital, is he? What happened? Where's the next video? I hope he's doing all right. I hope he didn't quit YouTube. I like his videos. That's just crazy how that all works. But so yeah, be respectful to blue collar content creators, and we're gonna get into that sort of thing. But because a lot of times the money side of it, if you run the numbers, just plain sucks. And they would be better off doing something else with their time. Because one of the biggest lessons you'll learn in any of this or anywhere else is the value of your time, how there is value to it, and you don't want to blow it on something stupid. You know, take care of your necessities, but don't go so wild as to not keep an open mind to like other things you could be doing that might be better. Great example, but we're circling back around to it so I can actually finish this thought. The time that I spent making all these YouTube videos all these years and learning all this stuff would have made more money if I just gotten a second job. Full stop. No. Could just be some rinky-dink, like, you know, work stock shelves at Walmart part-time or something like that. Some stupid little job would have paid more. So, and keep that in mind too, when people, when they're, whatever is left of this culture on YouTube that hates monetization in all of its forms, whenever that surfaces its head, like, oh, you're a stupid e-beggar. Oh, you start a Patreon because what? You want to take my money now? Screw you, get a job. Well, you better hope they don't take your advice seriously, because in some of these cases with some of these people I've seen get this kind of attitude from people, they would be better off getting a job. If it really was about the money, they'd shut all this down and go get a job, because some of them even have the hard skills to make plenty of money in corporate America or some medium-sized enterprise, at least here in the US. I understand it's different in other countries like Korea, where it's either humongous Samsung company or little startup with very little in the middle in terms of small to medium-sized companies. But you got to think about who you're saying this stuff to. If somebody who quit corporate IT to make YouTube videos gets a job, they're going back into corporate IT and probably making way more money doing whatever than they will making YouTube videos. It's almost like give people credit for their altruism in bringing you entertainment for you to watch. That's something besides the overproduced, over-commercialized stuff on TV. Because none of this needs to exist. We have YouTube to thank for any of this being viable. And the other copycat services that did the same thing. How about we quit this stupid silence crap for a bit? Start this jazz up. I've added some new tracks in his... Why does that sound like it's playing... Darn. Yeah, 7%. No, the masters are a little off here. Seems like it's how's the audio ducking? The audio ducking looks pretty good though. So, all right, let's see here. What did I have open? Yeah, I was looking at some of these numbers for all of this. Let's refresh everything. Has yeah, yeah, we'll see what happens. I mean, if I have tech projects, I'll still make videos, but it's not something I'm going to go crazy trying to do. All right, let's see. Live control room, I need that minimized, and then I need Twitch tracker put on screen, and not Twitch tracker, we'll use that later. We'll start with Sully Gnome. Let's make this a nice big picture here and go into browser mode and see if it links up automatically. 4, 3, 2, 1. No, it didn't. By the way, alerts are unstable, so I'm not going to go crazy with alerts. I'm probably going to migrate them over to Streamlabs, because Stream Elements, like one alert goes off, it's fine. 2 alerts, OBS starts flickering. Too many more after that break alerts until I restart the whole stream. So, stupid. So, I've got tech discussions going on with Stream Elements, but I think in the meantime, I think it would be better if I just migrated them over to Streamlabs, even though I'm not using Streamlabs desktop. So, this is the watch time, and this is the ugly state we find ourselves in here. This is the watch time. Let me just set over live control room and put OBS on screen too. Well, I think it's fine as it is, but let's just make it like this. So, how's that? Got our scenes over there now instead of the web browser, so I don't have to look halfway across the screen to see chat. So this, give me my pointer, baby. There we go. So what we have here is, this is the viewers and everything. Here is the bubble from the 2020 lockdowns. A little bit of an improvement into the middle of 2021, and then not so good since. A little cool at the start of the year, but as restrictions and whatnot are continuing to get lifted and we go from pandemic to endemic with the virus, more and more people are going to be out and about doing things. The question is, how much does it drop off from here? If there's anything that I can tell you in terms of, like, you know, handling stuff like this, I have to say One of the best things you can do to keep yourself level-headed is not get mad at stuff that's just happening anyways. There's been a lot of issues going on lately with some streamers who are like, I don't know if I should keep streaming, da-da-da. And I think they're taking it personally when in reality it's just something going on with the scene in general. So also, don't forget, the general public, maybe they thought streaming was cool and all, but now they're being introduced to streaming through a commercial service, like the various Plus services and whatnot. Let's see how the sound is. It was cool and all, but now they're being introduced to streaming through... That's not bad. I still don't know what caused that glitch where everything went all distorted. Maybe I'll just stay away from Creator, whatever that was. Plus, they want you to give them credit for all their songs, which I think is just too much work compared to the YTAL. So it's... they'll probably end up eventually contributing to the YTAL anyways. Well, no, they want to be multi-platform, so that's probably why they're doing what they're doing. Well, I hope Nick Nimmin has a pretty good time with his project there. Right. So this is it. This is the bubble. And as the bubble starts to burst, we got to ask ourselves, how far down is this going to go? Here's where it was before. But the problem is the cat's out of the bag. People already know about online media if they didn't before. They know about streaming if they didn't before. They got gear now, which probably lets them, do live streams and stuff, like for like remote school, class, not school at home, remote schooling, remote work, meetings, Zoom meetings, etc. I definitely say that this is definitely a cultural shift that just normalizes content creation among larger and larger groups of people nowadays. So, while we're doing all of this, though, keep in mind, it's just what's happening. It's not a personal insult if, say, your stream numbers go down or something, because the peak of all of this was around this time last year. And then it's just been, there was a little bit of a revival, so to speak, of the numbers January, February, but now we're dropping back down again. And how much further down is it going to go? Because at some point, this has to go down because people are going to start going out and doing things again instead of sitting home watching videos or streams all the time. Or they may put their phones down out in those public places and don't just sit there with their mask on anymore. What goes up must come down. The question is what it looks like when this comes down. And what it does to content creation, especially if you have some egos in play that can't stand the fact that somebody out there is going to have to go from full-time back to part-time. Now, I can tell you, I'm not a fan of being a full-time content creator. Getting back to what we said earlier, the historical context of full-time content creation is it looked more attractive than it actually was because everything else sucked. During the Great Recession, when people are trying to get away with as little people on the payroll as possible, then that was a problem. Nowadays, it's not as wild as it was, and people aren't asking you to go jumping through a bazillion hoops for $8 an hour anymore. It might actually be more worth it to have a job you can handle paying your bills, and then this is like your passion and stuff. And keep this, keep the ability to make a bunch of money just by getting hired with the way jobs are in your area versus the instability that is inherent in stuff like this that depends on other people liking what you do in order to be successful, or not just people, technology. So you're depending on an algorithm to actually do its job when you know that at Google and at Amazon and whatnot, and these companies that run these platforms, they're always under the hood tinkering to try and make things better. And we all know what happens if you try and fix what isn't broken. You eventually might break it some more. As you've seen with people's channels inexplicably dying for no real reason, or the subscription system not working, or something else not working, or so many things that say, in no uncertain terms, that YouTube is far too dependent upon automated systems. All right, how's my calculator on this thing? It still pops up on the screen, right? Let's see here. Oh, I got the forecast for Chinatown in Washington, D.C. on here. Get that off my start menu. I don't need the weather on there. I don't need Spotify on there either. All this plug-in, all this pack-in garbage here. What's this? Is this my... That's a news service. So we get that out of there. Let me see. Fire up. Where... Calculator's not even on here. We'll put that in. Oh, it says it's already pinned. We'll move it up. Fire up calculator. Still appears on the screen, right? Good. We need it. We're going to need it shortly. Let's go over to Twitch Tracker. Let me give you some examples. Beginning with Jay Streezy and Cook Sucks. Let's see if they show up there. TwitchTracker.com. There is a certain thing... Well, we also want to take a look at some other folks as well. How many Twitch trackers are we going to need, I wonder? Oh boy, oh boy, oh boy. Hold on a second. Let me go over to my Chrome extensions. I'm getting a bazillion things here. All right, turn on a few things. Turn this on and turn this on. Turn everything else back on except for the Google stuff because I never use that. And restart the browser. Probably have to relink it after doing this. Thank goodness this is Chrome. All right, Twitch tracker. Oh, Chrome got updated too. Welcome to the 100th release of Chrome. Check out a few features that can help you stay safe online, etc. Cool. Must have updated while I've been streaming. Great that I'm off a DSL, isn't it? All right, there's a pop-up for supporting Ukraine, but this is a little bit better now. Good. I don't want some video ad messing everything up here. Let's see. Let me see how many of these people have sub trackers. It's just going to take a while to load everything up here. I'm going over to Twitch tracker, and it's running like I'm on dial-up. Do-de-do-de-do-de-do-de-do-de-do. You know what? We'll just hammer this thing. Duplicate a bunch of tabs. Oh, that's right. TwitchTracker.com. We'll just duplicate tabs, and we'll load up data. Let's see. I know some of the smaller streamers that I keep an eye on don't have numbers yet. A couple of big ones do, though. Let's load up a few more. Let's duplicate. While that's loading, we'll load something else up. Jay Streezy. While I'm at it, let me go see if he has it on his channel as well. Jay Streezy with 2 Y's is his alt channel. Does he have no sub tracking for his alt channel, but I know he has it on his main channel. So let's load up the sub tabs on just about everything here, and let's take a look at some numbers and probably get lit up with them as well. So I keep an eye on some, this is like light mode. Browser mode? It won't pull it back automatically, so let's link up the web browser. There we go. All right, SFan. SFan was the first person that I looked at with regards to, we've got a little support Ukraine thing in there too. That's cool. SFan has this little, SFan was the first streamer where I kept an eye on this sort of thing. And when I discovered that this was working. Recently, some people have been criticizing him because while all these collabs have been going on over in Austin, he was sitting in his room playing video games. Look, everybody's suddenly his internet parents, like, get off the video games and go outside, play outside. Does he really need to? Get our calculator ready and let's place it off to the side so we can do some math here. All right, where is it on our screen? Is it on here? What? How is it not on browser mode? What kind of, give me that. What kind of nonsense is this? Plus, let's see. Window capture. Give me the calculator. Come on. There we go. Let's put it down like here. That'd be a good spot for it. Now that's what I call a setup. So SFan, let's scroll a little here. He's not doing collabs. He's not supporting stuff. He's not doing this, that, or the other. Does he need to? Here's the charts that I'm paying attention to the most these days. Wow, getting lit up big time. Let's zoom way in on this. The core of what kind of stable income you have as a Twitch streamer is tier 1s, 2s, and 3s. We'll keep it simple, just look at tier 1s in general. So how fat this big purple thing is, do the 2.5 rule, determines how well somebody has in terms of reliable pre-tax income here. So his worst month was beginning of 2020 before Ginny showed up. Gee, I wonder why. Him and his little collab couple making the news, putting him on the map, stuff like that. But let's take, let's see, 3650 total subs. How many tier 1s? 23.99. We'll pick that as like his worst time ever or something like that. Give me the calculator. Do the 2.5 rule. 23.99 times 2.5 is about $6,000 a month times 12 is about $71,000 a year. That's one heck of a middle class income, but there are IT positions even out here in the sticks that pay more. So that's like 20 years ago, my college professors made that. So add some inflation onto that and jump it up a little, but that's not too bad. In an area like where I am, if you make that kind of money, you probably have money that you don't know what to do with. It's more about 30s and 40s around here nowadays. It was 20s when I first got out of college, but, you know, inflation. So, And that's just tier 1s, says nothing about the 2s, the 3s, the Twitch primes, and all the donos that come in and the bits that get cheered. But that's like, this is like having a job with a base salary and a crap ton of tips. It's like being a full-time Twitch streamer is like being like a bartender as a bartending job on steroids. You know, you kind of get what you make swings all over the place depending on tips and stuff. But if you maintain a minimum level of tier 1 subs who aren't unsubbing, then you have yourself some darn good stuff going on. So let's see, if he got some publicity with OTK and he now hangs out around 17,000 subs, he's off to a great start for this year. Let's say he levels off to around 15 grand. 15 grand times 2.5, 37,500 per month times 12, 6 digits. So does this guy really need to be out and about going on, you know, doing bazillions of collabs if he's fine right now just playing video games all the time, especially with BA2? Well, not in Texas or anything where he is, but BA2 in New England, I know, is picking up steam. Matter of fact, there was recently a bit of an uptick in cases in Boston. So I'll probably see that spread out a bit up and down the Mass Pike and everything else. So, but S-Fan is not what I'd call a blue-collar streamer. We have to start going down the list here to see some of these big differences. Keep in mind, one of the biggest things I've been seeing regarding Twitch lately is that despite their years and years of attempts to expand into expansion categories, they are still primarily a gaming website. Most of their biggest creators are game streamers, at least in, you know, the English market. Their biggest creators are game streamers. The focus is on gaming. Twitch is set up with gaming type stuff like flashy colors and stuff. They also do commercials that seem like, you know, references to gaming and stuff like that. So despite so many people out there wanting Twitch to be something other than what it is still fundamentally at its core what it originally was, which is a gaming platform. It just has more freedom for people to do other stuff than it used to back when you had to do a minimum amount of gaming stuff. So, at its core, Twitch is still a gaming-focused platform. They have expansion categories, but it doesn't really change what they are. So, if big gaming orgs and whatnot and game streamers are doing fine on here, then that's just Twitch being Twitch. Now, let's move on to a figure who just very recently turned on sub-tracking, and that is, of course, Ginny. Oh, she's a big she's some kind of IRL queen, according to some people. Very recently turned on the data here, though. Going into March, 5,000 subs, 4,500 tier 1s. I don't know what she's doing differently and whatnot, but we'll see how this data fills in. April is incomplete, but the Twitch tracker is picking up a bunch of tier 1s like this. We know she's the biggest out of the streamers in her little clique, so let's fire up the calculator here. So if she's rolling with, what is it? What's her tier 1 for about 4,276? Get her down to about 4,000 tier 1s a month, assuming this becomes some kind of new normal. You know, we could put it down to like 3,500. Let's say she drops a bit down to like 3,500. Doesn't keep thinking, whoops. Figures. My multiplication key is a little bit loose. So usually it doesn't work. This time it worked twice. 3,500 subs a month times 2.5 is 8,750 times 12. 6 digits. Barely 6 digits, but still 6 digits. Keep in mind, to deliver a reliable IRL stream requires investment in certain kinds of gear. The folks coming out of South Korea are learning this the hard way. And I imagine it doesn't sit very well with them if someone tells them that much smaller IRL streamers than them are investing in things like live view backpacks and Bella boxes so they have reliable, good quality video no matter where they go. Think of it like the fans in a computer case. So you can have a setup, if you know what you're doing, you can have a setup with your computer fans where your fans are all running at half speed and your system still gets the airflow it needs to stay properly cooled because you have a lot of fans, but they're running at a reduced speed. So the system is quiet. It makes a low hum and stuff because lower RPMs, but the airflow of all of those fans adding up keeps things cool for you. So there's some people that cool like radiators from water cooling and stuff like that as well. They plan on loading up 4 fans on the radiator, but running them at a reduced speed so it doesn't make a lot of noise. So there's some people out there that are IRL streaming. They're going around with these boxes and stuff that are designed very specifically to do exactly that. Even if they get crappy signal on all their SIM cards that they're paying for, by the way, they get crappy signal on all the SIM cards, they still get a reliable, decent quality picture no matter where they go. And it takes a lot more in terms of bad Wi-Fi or bad this or the other to lag them out when they're bonding all those internet connections together. So it'd be interesting to see, what the expenses would be and stuff for Ginny's never-ending worldwide adventures. But 6 digits here. But keep in mind, there are game streamers like S-Fan that are doing way better without having to leave the house. So say what you want about IRL and whatnot. I don't really think Twitch supports IRL as much as people think it does. Remember, this is where the whole Ice Poseidon fiasco came from. Let's see here. Remember, this is where the whole Ice Poseidon fiasco came from. People got this idea that they could just barrel around with, smartphones everywhere they went and just record everything. And eventually Twitch had to have a town hall on privacy and stuff like that, which is why your IRL today consists of them constantly doing a moving selfie or even shoving the camera into their shirt when they don't want to show anything. And that leads to something that I should probably mention here, but probably deserves its own video. I think we can close the calculator. There we go. I think this also speaks to a little something we got to talk about, and that is this whole guidance out there, these gurus out there that are saying make a YouTube channel for your stream highlights because YouTube's more discoverable than Twitch. We're gonna want to turn the music off for this. It's that serious. Facebook depression, the social media phenomenon where you get sad because someone else's life looks better than it actually is, because they're only posting the highlights of all the good stuff happening to them. And they have problems like anybody else. But from what they show on their social media platform, it bums you out because you are at least a little bit thinking and kind of like deluded or deceived or whatever into thinking their life is better than it actually is. Imagine that with a YouTube channel showing a live stream. Highlights videos, why is nobody talking about this? Highlights videos will present your stream as better than it actually is because you can edit it out and you can edit out the dull bits and punch it up. So, logically, somebody checks out your stream, sees that it's not as good as the videos, why stay? I'm curious, especially people with limited free time out there, who's having this problem where they think their stream isn't growing, but their YouTube channel is, because people are just catching the highlights because they don't have the time or aren't interested enough to watch the stream, warts and all. There's something to think about, especially given how people just parrot this guidance all over the place. Let's get back to this, shall we? S-Fan, game streamer, does pretty well for himself. Ginny goes all over the world and puts up with all kinds of extra risks to end up with less money from Tier 1 subs. Now we get into Cooksucks and Jay Streezy. These were folks who were talking about, I almost quit streaming. The money's not there. No matter what I do, it's the same number of subs. Okay, let's take a look at this. These folks, I think, are more in line with the blue-collar content creators. Oh, we need to add Just Kath into the mix. She's a great example. Now, it's probably a good... Now we're getting into content creators who are in Southeast Asia trying to live there as long as they can and stream there as much as they can because of the difference in cost of living and just the fundamental mechanics of having a Western audience that supports with US dollars despite living in a place with a very favorable exchange rate like, say, the US dollar versus the Thai baht or the Vietnamese dong. Yes, that's the currency. All you people have never heard of Vietnamese dong before. I don't know if it has a plural either. I don't know if anybody talks about like a thing of like something costing 22,000 dongs, but laugh about it if you're immature. That's the currency. Ask them why they do that. Or learn about the culture instead of like thinking like an American about the whole ordeal. Let me just double this up here. Let me add Just Kath into the mix, who's a Thai streamer. who's benefiting from this to an extent. I've actually looked at... Oops. Yeah, well, I typed it in the wrong spot. That's why. 404, not found. Come on, load. Come on, Twitch tracker. I know you're like a diesel bus of a site here, but see, does she have sub tracking? No, she doesn't. Crap. Well, I can go to her offline chat, twitch.tv, twitch.tv/justketh. I think she has a subs command. We can see what she's at. Hope I don't get banned for this. See, mute. It's playing the VOD from a while ago. Let's see here. Is anybody in this? Nightbot and Streamlabs. See. Crap. There's a whole bunch of people in here, even though she hasn't streamed in like several hours. Hopefully, there are people from overseas that fell asleep. The only moderators are Nightbot and Streamlabs here. Oh, I think we looked it up and she had like 700 or something like that. Okay, never mind. Let's look at these numbers here. 29. So we'll begin with Cook Sucks then. Cook Sucks is basically your grumpy old internet uncle or whatever. He has this very smart acid whatever old guy too, like 38, close to my age. But let's see. Tier 1s. Yeah, so nothing like the game streamers. His best month was March last month. I think he was doing collabs. I think he went to Thailand for that sort of thing. Might be better too. I mean, if he stays over there. This is the other side of that whole Thailand thing. Never mind the ease of access once the restrictions got pulled back and stuff from the pandemic. But the differences in the cost of living is just massive. Like, for the price of a terrible studio apartment over here, I could rent a house in Bangkok. It's crazy. Long as I have a way of making money in US dollars, living overseas permanently in a lower cost of living country is very, very attractive. And I it started with a kind of a Thailand meta, and I objected to it because if you're going to Thailand from America right now, you're going from a part of the world where the pandemic's in eclipse to a part of the world that still has COVID problems. However, I mean, once BA2 starts making the rounds in America, that difference is going to narrow. And it's not like I don't see the current attraction from some of these Southeast Asia streamers. When I first ran into Jay Streezy and found out he was stuck in Vietnam, I was like, well, why is he in Vietnam so much if he's from California? And then I started thinking about the numbers, you know. Yeah, if he's a certain number of whatever, it's better for him to stay in a cheap part of the world if he wants to be a full-time content creator. But let's run the numbers on some of this. Assuming it's a fluke, Cook hangs around what? He averages about 1,000 subs. Now, when you consider how expensive it is to live in California, 1,000 tier 1s maintained over the course of a year is $2,500 a month pre-tax, multiplied by 12, $30,000 a year. Divided by 12, take it back to monthly, divided by 4, $625 pre-tax per week. If that's a full-time job, it's $15 an hour. $15.62, specifically $15.63 an hour. So, what's your minimum wage like? New England, Connecticut, I should say. Connecticut right now is at a $14 an hour minimum wage. Next year, it goes to $15 an hour. So, $15.62. If he doesn't get a bunch more subs, his sub revenue is the equivalent of what's going to be kind of a minimum wage job in higher cost of living states by this time next year. But I can tell you, you can make $18 an hour easily picking orders in a warehouse, doing a dumb job that nobody wants. More if you actually are willing to drive a little bit of equipment. Actually, no, it's 17 something. You can start at 17 something doing the dumbest warehouse job around here. Dirt easy, no dealing with forklifts, no equipment. Just pay attention to what you're doing and pick the right stuff in the right quantity, unlike whoever sent me the wrong RAM today. And by the way, is there any updates from Amazon yet? This might be an overseas seller, so it might be daytime over there. Nope, nothing. Well, we'll see when this, what's the name again? Duo Makey seller or whatever, if they ever get back to me. Otherwise, I'll escalate it with Amazon. But yeah, it's real. How's this for an expose on blue-collar content creation? So, Cook Sucks flies halfway around the world, tries to maintain an audience despite daytime in Thailand being nighttime in the United States and early morning in Europe, etc. That's why I watch a lot of these Asian streamers who are natively from those areas, because I'm stuck on night shift. You know, I like my differential, thank you very much. So, if I was day shift, watching, say, someone in Korea or something might be an early morning thing for me. If it was my day off, it'd be fine. Otherwise, I'm drinking coffee, waiting for the coffee to kick in. I guarantee you, when I'm half asleep because I'm not a morning person, trying to wake up because my day is just starting, it is very different from when I've been running around all night and I'm coming home after work. I guess all day in that case. And I'm coming home and I'm just relaxing and actually want to be entertained and do something akin to watching TV in the evening after work. Very different thing. But hey, you know, there are some people who've lived over there, Streezy's one of them, who've managed to stay in the triple-digit range as far as concurrents go. So it's doable, but what are the numbers involved? $15 an hour, wage equivalent, but you have to live in another part of the world, deal with different weather, you know, something can happen to your visa status or whatever, you just like give up, and you know, you might go somewhere where the tap water is not drinkable, street food gives you diarrhea, as I'm calling it. Because I've heard so many stories from these streamers going to Thailand, eating street food, and like, yeah, I'm not streaming today, I got nasty diarrhea. It's happened so many times, I'm wondering why nobody has jokingly called it Thai-arrhea yet. Because it's like, and it doesn't even have to be street food either, from what I understand. If it's a part of the area where the tap water isn't drinkable and you got to wonder about the ice in your drink, man, I tell you. Oh yeah, but everything's cheaper over there. Well, if I want to get a nose job, it's only $2,000. What's the bot exchange rate at? 33 to $1? Yeah, and the Vietnamese dong is even more so. Capitalism, baby. And what even is this but another form of, you know, send the factories overseas to keep costs down? Except this time you're the factory. It's like, oh yeah, I almost quit streaming. Yeah, well, 1,000 subs is equivalent to a $15 an hour job. People had better appreciate you, you know? Better appreciate you, especially dumb jobs in my neck of the woods pay more than that. How sobering is that? You're from a certain part of the United States, and you realize your pathetically stupid job that you hate and you wish you were a content creator. I wish I was a YouTuber all the time. And yet your pathetically horrible job that you can't stand pays almost as much, or more than the people you look up to. This is the reality of the blue-collar content creator. And Cook Sucks is in better shape than Mr. Streezy. Granted, he has a bit of a problem because he's been doing some real serious divide and conquer on himself, because he has a second channel that he tests stream gear on, and for some reason he won't actually put it under science and technology, even though it's basically he's driving around, hey, let's see if this SIM card box works, or let's see how this camera works. Twitch has a SciTech section, use it and use your main channel. But he's been bumping off to his secondary channel for most of the time. So here's his version of those numbers right here. Can we just take the calculator off the screen here? Yeah, let's get this off the screen. We'll come back for some numbers later. Understanding that Cook Sucks at about 1,000 Twitch subs, that represents a sub income pre-tax equivalent of a $15 an hour job. So, minimum wage next year in certain parts of the U.S. like New England. Oh, but you thought every streamer was a super rich snob or whatnot, you know? And that's... Hold on a second. Get me out of this. Give me Sully Gnome for Cook Sucks. 365. SullyGnome.com. Cook Sucks. Okay, he didn't do it for his 365. He only averaged it. Yeah. He only averaged it. Sully Gnome, Cook Sucks, 365 days. This is somebody who is cracking 4 digits on Twitch. Especially since he went off to Thailand, started doing collabs with Jake and Bake, and now Jay Streezy. Bam. Look at these numbers, though, the more normie numbers for him. Around the 1,000 mark in terms of concurrence. So you can get into... How about we check Lakari? Does Lakari have tracking? Hold on a second. Because I know Lakari, before that huge Yugi collab he just did, Lakari was around 2,000 concurrence. His 365, yeah. Is he on Twitch Tracker? Duplicate. Oops, I just did another thing of the... No. Just change that out to... See if Lakari has sub-tracking turned on. You have to actually turn that on over on Twitch Tracker in order for numbers to show up, which is why I'm kind of surprised Ginny did it. She likes to keep a lot of things under wraps. Why would she do this? I don't know. Oh, okay. telling numbers. Let's bounce over to Lakari. Oh, you think you're doing good when you hit 4-digit concurrence on Twitch? Here's Lakari. You know, this big jump over here, 365. This big jump over here is the collabs he was doing with Yugi while everyone was visiting, Kyuko and whatnot, while everyone was visiting in Austin recently. But before all of that, hanging around the 2 grand mark, yeah, and subs. What is it? What do his charts look like? Look, not that much better than Cook. Cook is flirting with 4-digit concurrence. Lakari is solidly into it, and here's the numbers. Bam. What's with all these people turning their... Hold on, that's Lakari, right? Yeah, it is. What's with him turning these numbers on just recently, just like with Ginny? I don't know. Anyways, about 1,000 tier 1s. 2,000 concurrence and about 1,000 tier 1s, on par with Cook in his blah months before stable income, equivalent of a $15 an hour job. What's the cost of living like in Austin, or San Antonio, I should say? San Antonio costs, well, let me just look it up. This is the Google era, isn't it? San Antonio average wage. Nah, is this going to help me any? So salary.com for general laborers in the San Antonio area pegs them at about 24 grand to $45,000 a year. So if you have, give me the numbers here, a $15 an hour job, 15, come on, asterisk. 15 times 40 times 12 times 4. 4 weeks in a month, dumbass. Try that again. 15 times 40 hours in a week times 4 months, 4 weeks in a month times 12 months in a year, 28.8 pre-tax. Okay. There you go. Respect. Blue-collar content creators. Let's get Lakari's numbers off of here. So, Streezy's been hanging out around 3-digit concurrence most of the time I've been watching. These bigger numbers are from when he was in Vietnam with Nina Neon, who also has her own channel, Rookie channel. I don't even think she's monetized yet. Let's see. 2,300. So, his spike months, he's looking at... what, like 800 or so? What does that come out to? This was sobering when I first found this, because this guy's really professional about stuff. If you hang out around 800 Twitch subs, 2.5 rule, $2,000 a month pre-tax, that's $24,000 a year. 2,000, this stupid keyboard, times 12. I'm going to destroy the rest of this asterisk button trying to do this. 24,000, take it back to 2,000, divide by 4 weeks, divide by 40, $12.50 an hour. It's like 10 years ago when I was laid off, I had somebody telling me, "You're a college graduate. Why do you want to work $12.50 an hour?" To get back into the labor force so people don't think I'm a lazy ass. That was a cable job, by the way. They closed that place they're using for warehouse space when they got bought out again. So it wouldn't have lasted even if I stayed there. Yeah, $12.50 an hour. Woo! Sounds real rich, doesn't it? And so you figure $12.50 an hour, maybe it'll work in an environment where the Thai baht is 33 baht to the US dollar. Of course, you're going to hang out in Southeast Asia all the time. And then there's Korea. SKW versus USD versus SKW. There's these Korean streamers that are getting spoiled by Thailand prices, and they go to US for something. Oh no, everything's expensive. Yes, it is, madam. $1 US is about 1,218 South Korean won. So the won is a little weaker than the dollar. So even the folks from Korea, you know, it would actually be better for an American, not as much as going to Thailand, it'd be better for an American streamer to go over to South Korea and get all of their support in US dollars. So, how about versus the Japanese yen for people streaming in Japan? $1 US goes 123.69 yen. What are prices like over in Japan? Do they do things based on the hundreds? I know the won is the thousands. Let me see if I can find pictures of a Japanese supermarket. See here. Images. I don't want one in like the Asian market up in Boston. That's US prices. I want prices in yen. Here we go. So let me see if this is about 166 yen for an instant noodles dinner. 165 yen. Let's try another one. 75 yen, 398 yen for milk. 75 yen for a little drink box. That seems about right. I think they're a base 100 currency. So 100 yen be like $1 or something. 598 yen for some special sauce for noodles. This other stuff. Oh, a meat case. I can't see it on this one. Never mind. Let's see here. What are these, crackers or something? Vermont curry sauce. $5.9. Oh, that's American. Never mind. Yeah, so 100-ish. Should be about 100. Yeah, so 123 yen to the dollar. So yeah, we had these people going over there. We had these people going over there versus Taiwan. What do they have? Let's see. $1 US is about 28.76 new Taiwan dollars. Don't know if you want to be in Taiwan right now with all the crap going on, but there you go. That's the blue-collar streamers for you. To say nothing of blue-collar YouTubers or anybody else who monetizes, but what they get is either crappier or maybe, just maybe, they're lucky enough to have an approach where they could get from another job. Let me check out let me do some more name dropping here. Let me see. I don't think she does. Amy Kim. She hangs out around the 100 concurrent mark on Twitch. Openly admitted to being a part-time streamer, that she actually streams when she's not at her job. She's a friendly person. She's kind of has this Mr. Rogers vibe going on where she's super chill, often does like model building and stuff like that, builds little like glues together Gundam models and stuff on stream, does some cooking streams from time to time. This thing's almost out, and I got to make some more drinks in general. Not yet tracked. Okay, yeah. No way. I mean, if you're just streaming away, it really isn't. Let's see. How about Yummy 2? Wonderful looking cooking stream at her friends, at her, see overview. No videos are found. Okay. Maybe it's _2. Wonderful cooking stream yesterday. Looked like an actual cooking show. Oh yeah, _2. That's correct. See. Subs. What the? Holy crap. She gets like 100 concurrents tops, and she has sub tracking turned on Twitch Tracker. She's going to be the most blue-collar streamer, or most blue-collar streamer we've taken a look at here. Linky. And put this back on screen too. Let's give me my thing back here. Bam! I think she might be newer to streaming as well, but all right, here we go. Subs Beautiful cooking stream yesterday. 66 tier 1s plus Prime. 66 tier 1s plus Prime. 1 tier 2, 4 tier 3s. So the Primes are mixed in. So we don't know. Wait a minute. Is this actually her sub count? That's right now. Okay. So maybe she's done. What? There's no way this is. How is this her with only 100 concurrents? I understand it's a different culture over there, but no way. Maybe incomplete. Is this really how it goes for her? Okay, she's doing better than I thought. Let's go with these 300s though. These duller months of the year. Let's say 300 subs. Calculator. This is obviously going to be part-time. So if you're a part-time Twitch streamer, now one of the reasons why YouTubers were attracted over to Twitch after the adpocalypse was because they found out about subs, bits, cheers, etc. And they found out, do I have the lip balm still around that I could use? There we go. Let's do this the way the girls put lipstick on. See, so lower and then. No, it's not how it was made to be used. Either that or someone's gonna slap me upside the head when they see this. Come on, Jay. Come on, I'm a nerd. I don't expect to know very much about cosmetics. 300 subs on Twitch if you have that going on. 300 subs on Twitch, do the 2.5 rule. 750 a month times 12. $9,000 a year. That's like below the poverty line, I think. Something like that. $9,000. No. 300 times 2.5. 750 a month pre-tax divided by 4 weeks, $187 a week divided by 40, $468 an hour. Maybe back in the 80s, there might have been someone who made that money. I don't know. I'll give you an idea of how low that is as a wage rate. When I first started the audio-visual office at my college, I was minimum wage. The only minimum wage job I ever had in my life. $6.15 an hour. Still more than this. No siree, Bob. That is fun money. But if you're a part-time content creator and you've got yourself okay with, with your expenses, with your job, and you're just putting a little stuff on the side just for fun, what does that come out to? 300 subs times 2.5, $750 a month. So after 2 months, you can buy a whole new computer at today's prices. Maybe 3 if you want something good. But $750, that's some good fun money. It's also high enough that you would need to. It was also high enough that over the span of a year you'd have to put it into your taxes and other stuff as a side income and things like that. But there you go. Wow, I didn't know she was doing that well. She's usually like 80 to 100 concurrents. Sometimes goes higher. How does she do? Why don't you check her streams? Let's check the stream amounts here. Average CCVs. This cooking stream is awesome. If you don't mind watching VODs, watch this. This is great. 114 concurrents average, capped out at 142, 124, Yeah, see, 80 to 100. She's elite. I remember when she was only getting like 30 concurrents like a year or two ago. So people have gotten to know her, and she's done some collabs with some more established streamers. So now she's hanging around the 100 mark. So is Amy Kim, by the way, but Amy doesn't have sub tracking turned on. But I'm kind of surprised that she has this going. You have to actually turn this on for your channel in order for this to show up. Is this even accurate? Who knows? But because tier 1s and primes are being combined together, we can't really get a good baseline because primes can be there 1 month and gone the next. So because tier 1s and primes are being blended together, we can't know for certain that even the fun money that we calculated at the 300 sub level is really all that great. I suppose it would be enough income on the side to make you want to be more of a part-time content creator. And this is all before we start talking about ad revenue, which is abysmal on Twitch. So you wonder why I want to do things like memberships and other stuff and just make videos, and why I think YouTube memberships have more of a good future than their monetization equivalents over on Twitch. That's why. I mean, an environment where if you're not live, your content's dead, versus an evergreen platform for the ad side, versus if memberships can ever be as accepted, if memberships and supers can ever be as accepted as as their Twitch counterparts are, YouTube would be great. it easily would be one of the best platforms you could be involved on, even for a blue-collar content creator doing this for fun. So I imagine some of you folks are probably like, hey, when are you going to turn on the memberships? I think with this computer project, this should be, before I go back, I should do that. Quit putting it off, see if anything happens, test the support of these people that want me to make more computer videos. Now, oh, don't be like crying about your Patreon all the time. Okay, there's super thanks on all my videos. Click them. So, I got to run the numbers too for the budget as well. See if I can take these kinds of purchases out of the running total that I have so far from all the monetization. So that way that way I have evidence to show that it's not like I'm blowing money just to make YouTube videos anymore. That's the progress I want to make, by the way. Stop looking like I can't save anything because I'm, buying content essentially. But in this case though, I think this will easily be supported once they get the darn order right. Ay. If anybody wants to talk about anything else, go ahead and talk about stuff. But I just hope that this has been some kind of like a good introduction to just the whole issue with blue collar content creators. Bottom line, not everybody's a Pokemon, not everybody's a ninja, not everybody's even an S fan for that matter. And there are bigger folks than him, by the way. And just because someone makes it big doesn't mean that the money side adds up, as we saw at Cook Sucks and Lakari as well. The historical, this is, you know what? I think we've hit the weaknesses of streaming here, because, I mean, I've kind of been off the cuff on this and things like that, but this would be a really good thing to make into a video essay for one of my non-tech videos that I've been planning. So video essays are a thing on YouTube these days. So right now, here's what I'm doing. I'm catching up on all the computer stuff because it's been sitting around too damn long. And it's not just computer stuff either. That Bluetooth keyboard's been here a little too long. I have some phones that have been sitting over there. Need to do some work on them for a little too long. Some other things too as well that's been sitting around for too long. One of the great things that this furlough has been is a great way for me to catch up on the to-do list that's been sitting around for, you guessed it, a little too long. Earlier this week, not on stream or anywhere else, of course, I went out and finally made the recycling run that I should have made 2 years ago before the pandemic to get rid of the half disassembled printer and busted paper shredder that's been sitting for way too long. See what I mean? It's been a fun furlough. I'm probably going to grind out videos and maybe some game streams here and there if I run out of stuff to do, but I don't know, stuff's been sitting too long. How's that going to happen? But yeah. It's been great. Now, if only whoever picked this didn't screw up this order. Because the original plan was to finish the whole e-machine thing before going back. That's not happening now. We'll do something else instead. Like I said at the very beginning of the discussion, if you want to stay level-headed about stuff, don't get upset about stuff that's just happening anyways. Because as we said back in the 90s, and we've been demonetized already, so who cares? Shit happens! So, we'll change gears for a bit, work on some of the other stuff, while Amazon figures out who screwed this up. But I don't know what I'm going to do when I catch up on computer stuff, though. I'm not going to really go out of my way to do tech videos too much, because as we've clearly seen, absence makes the heart grow fonder. Right. Actions speak louder than words. We'll see what happens. Till next time, this is MultimediaJay signing off. Thanks for stopping by.